Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today I'm sitting in my sanctuary here with the plants growing behind us and the art all around us. I love being in this place. It's always calming to me. So to describe myself real quick, I got brown hair and brown eyes. I've got a headset on. My shirt feels a little wrinkled today, but it says every day is trash day somewhere. And that's a shout out to all my skaters out there, all my bootstrappers out there, and all of my urban gardeners out there, because you can always find something to build something you need from something. So, yeah, shout out to everyone. And today on the show, we've got our new friend, Regina. How you doing, Regina?
Phenomenal. Thanks, Jerry.
You are such a positive person. What do you call yourself? I forgot.
Wanted to mention a passion instigator. I don't think you've ever met one. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've never met one, but I certainly have never had someone with that title. I love that you have that. But I also don't know. We'll explore what a passion instigator is and see if we've ever met one, but I bet it's rare. So, so what you been doing today? It's not as nice and sunny and hot as yesterday.
No, this morning and every 2 weeks, I get up and I help produce a Zoom variety show for a friend I met during the pandemic, whose name is Dorothy. She lives in Washington and she's 87 years old.
And okay, so before we jump into everything else, what is a Zoom variety show? And why is this 87-year-old lady doing this?
I'm telling you, Dorothy has been in TV and radio for over 40 years. She's actually the same age as Carol Burnett. So if you can kind of think in those terms, I loved the Carol Burnett show. And that's sort of what Dorothy has created in this coffee chat. She calls it Coffee Chat and Change the World. And today we had people from Washington, all across the United States. We should go like this, all across the United States to the UK. We had people calling in from London. It was amazing. We have music. We had an Elvis impersonator today. We always cook there's some treat, culinary delight that a chef out in Oregon comes on and prepares for us live. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And we have so much fun. And we always close out the show with a song that one of the participants wrote called Christmas All Year Long. And I'm telling you, I play my jingle bells. So it truly is a variety show.
Maybe we'll come back to that in a little bit, because I want to understand that a little bit more, because this is probably something that popped up during COVID, not that she did before.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing is she started this honestly because I mentioned to her that my mom has been very lonely during the pandemic and not connecting with a lot of people. And she has now it's transformed into people who are of all ages. We have 20, 30 somethings all the way up to 70, 80 something people joining.
Yeah, I did watch Carol Burnett a lot when I was younger, and still every once in a while I'll see it on, and my wife loves it a lot, so we watch it, and yeah, it brings back that nostalgia, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about you a little bit. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? What brought you to Okemos, I think it is, or Lansing?
I am so happy that you asked about where I was born and raised, because as of late in this phase of my life, it's really come to light that this is absolutely the only place I think I could have been born, and it is Defiance. I was born in Defiance, Ohio. And there's actually a movie made about Defiance, Ohio. There was a prize winner It's called the prize winner of Defiance, Ohio, I think. But that's where I was born and raised. And man, the way I ended up here is traveling around, following my husband through veterinary training. So he is a veterinarian at Michigan State University, and we sort of traversed the country based on where he was in school at the time. And every single place that we went, every time we moved, I reinvented myself. So as an educator, so my background is in special education, I have a real expertise in invisible disabilities. So learning disabilities, ADHD, anxiety, trauma, things you can't see on the outside, but really affect the individual in day-to-day life. I've been able to use that.
Oh, I just wanted to interject something because it's serendipity. Earlier today, like not more than an hour ago, a woman came up to me and she's like, how can I reach you if I want help with my art business and getting a grant? And I was about to say, well, look us up on Facebook. She said, well, I had a head injury a couple of years ago, so I don't like screens. I don't like computers. How can I reach you? And it really hit me that not everybody's going to be able to find our website and get on Facebook and use their phone and all of that. And how do I go analog again outside? I've been thinking about it for the last hour because I mean, looking at her, I guess, is that what you mean by invisible? I couldn't just look at her and say, she doesn't deal with this, like the rest of us do.
You typically would not be able to visually identify a head injury, a traumatic brain injury. Yeah. And that is an acute way to experience a learning disability, attention issues, memory problems, even anxiety, social anxiety. So that's a really great observation and a great experience for you to think beyond, because we've all come to the screens this year thinking that's the be all end all. And we've got to remember there are still people who cannot navigate the technology for one reason or another, or choose not to, for their own health.
Yeah, I would like to choose not to once in a while. That's for sure.
Yes. Me too.
So I interrupted you, and I'm sorry about that. You've been reinventing yourself. You have the specialty in invisible disabilities. Am I getting you back on track? I'm trying to hand it back over.
Sure. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, when my husband went to vet school at the University of Wisconsin, we moved from North Carolina. That was on any given day, 90 degrees warmer than Madison, Wisconsin. And I went kicking and screaming, fell in love with Madison, Wisconsin. If you've never been, oh my gosh, if for no other reason, go for the cheese curds. And, the beer is amazing too. But in those 4 years, I had an opportunity to work with the University of Wisconsin athletic department. And I worked with athletes with invisible disabilities. And that was one of my all-time favorite jobs I ever had. It was full, and no day was the same. We had lots of, that was the interactions that we got to have, the kind of energy that comes with being in a sports community. Just, Mondays could be the best days or the worst, depending. But it was great. We even got a chance to go on a chartered flight to the Rose Bowl one of the years we were there, and they won. And that was a memory I will have for the rest of my life. It was really great.
My college wrestling career ended in Madison. I hurt my ankle in the Big Ten tournament in their field house there. Now you got my mind racing about all the wrestlers that I wrestled with back. Well, this was in the mid '80s, late '80s. I don't know when you were there or not, but
a decade later. But what's funny about the fact that you say wrestling is because prior to this, I had never been around some of these sports. Like I didn't know much about lacrosse. I didn't know much about rowing. I didn't know much about hockey even. And definitely not a whole lot about wrestling. It was the first time I ever saw cauliflower ear. And I remember my colleague warning me. He's like, the coach is going to come in. Don't stare at his ears. Like, why? What's the matter? So I had never seen anything like that before. But anyway, it was a great, great job. And I'm still in contact with some of those athletes. But, what blew me away is that some of these athletes are brought in to these amazing schools. So Wisconsin's a Big Ten with a 5th and 6th grade reading level. Mm-hmm. And that, so we had a lot of work to do, and we were had to learn very quickly what you could and could not do, how much you could work with them. And, the biggest thing about that work is that I loved on them. I loved on the kids. I was sort of their surrogate mom. They knew they could come to me if they had a problem that was more than just a class that they weren't passing, and that was terrific. But I've been able to morph my degree in education to do so many different things. And after, I've always been connected to a university. So I came here, I started to work with Michigan State University, the College of Education, and the special ed programs. And I worked for the Resource Center for Persons with Disabilities, phenomenal program. In fact, MSU has one of the best support centers in the nation. And finally, I got done with justifying my worth. I got tired of having to write a reason why they should hire me every semester, and that's kind of on the academic when you're not, when you don't have the PhD or you're not doing that kind of instructional work, you have to always say why you should be hired. And I was done with it. So I decided to launch out about 5 years ago and start my own company. And it was a wild ride because I still have not a lot of idea about what I'm doing, how I'm flying. I'm building the plane as I fly it. Absolutely.
I'm not sure that anybody on the show has ever articulated that they started their business for that reason, but that makes a lot of sense. I proved myself for whatever, 4 or 5 months, whatever a semester is, and then you got to prove yourself in writing again. Then that sounds very unrewarding. Well,
it makes you question, am I really? I mean, and I think as women, we're constantly struggling with the enoughness. Am I, young enough, thin enough, wealthy enough, smart enough, whatever it is, the enoughness. And I was done. So with lots of support from my hubs. And it's interesting. I met my husband at Camp Store in Jackson, Michigan, when we were 15 and 16. And that's a whole other show. But the fact that we're back, the fact that we came full circle and that every single one of our kids went to that same camp blows my mind. I mean, it's a great story. And in fact, I'm writing a book. So we'll do that. When my book is done, I'll come back and tell you about it. Okay.
Okay. So I have so many serendipitous things running in my head. I'm going to take us on a tangent for a minute. Okay. Is that okay?
Good. Great.
Enoughness. I love that word. And I'm blanking out again on my quote, but yesterday I read something somewhere where somebody who was, it was Joseph Heller. It's all coming back to me. The author was looking at some really wealthy guy. They were talking about him. And they talked about he already has what that guy will never have and why he's happy. And the word that he already had was enough. And it was some, consumer capitalist, someone going after their billions. And most people don't realize they have enough, they are enough. And it gets, you in a patriarchal system, it's very hard as a woman, I'm sure, to feel that way. You're 72% according to the salary averages. You're the one who's going to stay home according to the, COVID and homeschooling, what happened. So I love it. Keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt. I got another thing, but I'm going to wait.
Oh, you don't need to apologize. I love it. I love it. Well, that's the other thing too, is when I refuse to become like the poster child. Like I followed my husband through all his training and then he dumps me, right, for somebody younger or somebody, because I don't know if you know this, but veterinarians, the majority of them are women. And so he's with women all day long, and I, so that was sort of another part of my life that I knew I had to stay focused on. And so when I started my own company, after watching my husband go through years and years and degree after degree after degree, in my mind, I had already decided, well, there's no way I could make more money than my husband, because all the things. He's worked so hard. He's sacrificed so much. He's gone through all this education. And I did not, Jerry, you're not going to believe this, but I did not have that conversation with my husband until a month ago. And we've been together for 31 years. So you know what he told me? And I love him so much, but I love him for this, especially this month. Is he said, my degrees, those letters behind my name, narrow what I can do. They put me into this lane of specialty. He said, you can do anything you want. You can, please, he said, put me into retirement. I think what he really wants to do is just drive a bus around all day. I think he loves to drive things, and he just wants to drive cars and buses and things like that. But this is why I love the work I do, because I work with women primarily to do this mindset transformation, to break out of the beliefs and the behaviors and the bull crap that's been holding us back, preventing us from using our voices, from living our dreams. I think this is one of the reasons why the #1 killer of women is heart disease. Because we constrict, we hold on to everything, and we keep it so close to our chest. We don't share it with people because we're taking care of, fill in the blanks,
Yeah.
And that's my work. That's my mission, Jerry.
I've never been a mom, but I had one, and I'm married to one, and some pretty tough people right there. I hate the hashtag strong women, because it should be strong men. We already know women are strong. It's so obvious to me.
Well, and that might be an amazing thing for you to do for moms on Mother's Day. It's coming up, isn't it, this weekend?
Yeah.
Have a conversation, make a phone call, send a text, and ask your mom, what is the dream that you've been wanting to act on? What's your idea? What is the book title? Tell me the one thing that you've always wanted to do in your life that you haven't yet done, and see what happens. I bet you may even have moms who just spontaneously start to cry, because people don't ask. They just assume that we're doing what we're supposed to do, what we love to do, because we're so altruistic. But the truth is, we all have these secret dreams, things that are big, hairy, audacious goals that we want to accomplish.
I love everything you're saying. There's a ton of serendipity still happening. You just hit on one of my favorite quotes that I'm not going to talk about, but what I will talk about is that on Mother's Day, on Every Damn Day, I invited my mother. So
you've got a question now.
I do. I have two. Well, I will have two by then, but I'm going to pass this all the way down there a week away or so. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you help women. Let's talk about your projects. Let's talk about what you're into.
Mm. My project right now is Plyovation. Plyovation. There it is. Plyovation is a mindset transformation program. And it's 9 months in length because of the gestational similarities. So it's sort of fun because we don't actually get pregnant, but we get to birth a new you at the end of the 9 months. And the word Plyovation is my word. If you look up Plyovation, I come up. No, but I brought this word together. So Plyovation is the marrying of this idea of plyometrics. Have you ever done a plyometric? I'm sure you have. Where you go from being still to jumping?
No,
Jerry.
I have not. Well, I might have not called it that. I think I'm sure
okay.
I've been still, and then it jumped.
Right. You've jumped up on things. You've jumped up on, you might see people in CrossFit do that training where they jump. So it's the idea of being in one place and jumping, plyometrics, and then it marries with motivation. Really all the Asians, innovation, cooperation, anticipation, but it's this idea of taking yourself from where you are, because you've got so much, just all that energy inside of you going nowhere, and we explode. We go through 4 circuits, just like a workout almost, but we're not doing like, what are those burpees? We're not doing those kind of things. Conditioning, where we start to condition our minds and the way we think, and we learn how to create a new path where we've never been before. We're not following anybody. We're doing this all on our own. And then it goes into strengthening. And think about this, like when you're doing a workout, you have to figure out what your posture is before you can actually start building those muscles. Because if you have poor posture, you're going to hurt yourself. Right. So first we go through conditioning, then we go through strengthening. And strengthening, one of the key features of this circuit is being alone. It amazes me how many people, men and women, have a very difficult time being alone, spending time just with themselves. Get to know me, because first of all, it's painful. And I think the pandemic has really helped a lot of us sit with ourselves a little bit more and figure out what we like, what we don't like, what we want to change, what we want to work on. And then learning how to be joyful. One thing is, through all of this, Jerry, I never got sick. Everybody in my house got the virus. I never got sick. And I'd like to think that it was my mindset, that it was my healthy practices, that it was things that I do every day to stay positive. And there are a lot of people in my life who looked at me this past year and said, "You are too happy. Stop being so happy. Stop being so positive."
Isn't that usually the opposite of women get? "Oh, you don't smile enough," or "You're not smiling right," or "Why aren't you happy?"
I am happy. And I am somebody who knows that when you keep your mind, body, and spirit aligned, that you live bigger, you vibrate higher, you attract happier people to you. You attract people who lift you up and say, "Yes, do it, go for it. I believe in you," all of that. So then we go from strengthening to performance, where we're really putting rubber to the road. We're getting our actions done. We're building our businesses. We're taking care of ourselves, whatever you come in with, in the training program. And then rest and relaxation. So we talk about how to keep our energy, how to rejuvenate ourselves, how to do things that heal and strengthen us so that we can go back and do it again. Because we put people, men and women, I think we put people into programs all the time, like, take this and learn how to be a leader. Take this and learn how to, manage your team. These intensive 1 week, weekend, 2-day programs, that's not the way we work. We
Yeah.
have to rebuild the muscle memory. We have to believe in our minds that we can do the thing that we thought we couldn't do. It takes longer than a day or two.
You related it to the 9 month cycle of having a baby,
Yeah.
and how do you do things like that are correlated to first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester, or
Well, it's a great question. It didn't first start out like that. It didn't happen. But what I recognized after the first cohort and then the second and then the third, I'm like, these women are actually moving through some of the same symptoms and outcomes as each one of these trimesters. It's amazing. Because at
yeah,
first they feel like, oh, should I have done that? They feel sick, they're nervous, they don't know what they've gotten themselves into. It really is. It is amazing. But the transformation blows me
yeah,
away every time. And no two women who come through the program, and I mean, no two women are the same. Therefore, the outcomes are blowing up all
yeah.
over the place. It's amazing. Yeah.
We use a lot of biomimicry around here. We do what nature does, and I'm so fascinated by this that you chose to tie it like that.
Thank
Um,
you.
what about so this is less positive, but what about like a postmortem? Um,
Mm.
uh, do you see that like, oh no, I need Regina, or I don't?
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because when this is the first time I'm in the middle of a group where we are calling it the Master Leap. Instead of a mastermind, it's a Master Leap, and we're doing the same kind of thing where we bring the thing. So when women come into Plyovation, they bring themselves. When they get into Master Leap, they bring their idea, they bring their gift, their business, whatever it is they're working on. And it is a mastermind group, but instead of being in the hot seat, we get on the trampoline.
Nice.
Metaphorically speaking. But yeah, it's great. And I am building a platform, Jerry, where women can come together that's not Facebook, and continue to work on themselves like this before, during, and after the Plyovation program.
So if someone's really interested in this or wants to learn more about it, what's the best way for them to do that?
Thank you. They can go to reginacarey.com. Go to my website, sign up, start by simply signing up for the motivation mailer. And that way you'll get information about it, because I'm really, you'll be hearing a lot about it this month. My next cohort starts in June.
How many people so is this your fourth cohort? Is that right?
Yes. And I actually had a graduate who lived in Traverse City. She used to drive from Traverse City every month to meet in Lansing to do this work. She teaches her own version of this up in Traverse City now. So it's actually like, it's so great. The goal here is I want to go international, but we have anywhere from 8 to 12 women in the cohorts. And I've graduated, personally, I graduated 4. I've got my 5th one getting ready to graduate in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say your mission is? I mean, I could make one up right now, but I'd really love to hear it from you.
Oh, my mission is to get people to live their own damn life. I want people to live from their heart, not so much from their head, because in our core, we know. And what happens is we get busy in life, and I think that light, that passion starts to fizzle. People put, layers of life over that fire. And my mission is to uncover it. That's really, and I see myself as healing people by helping them uncover their light and remind them what it is that they love to do.
What do you do every damn day to push that forward?
I ask people questions that I think they're not used to hearing. Questions like, what's the idea that you're not moving on? What's something you've held close to your chest? How can we grieve this so that you can move forward? I do a lot of grief work with people, but I ask tough questions and I get excited when things go wrong. And so I'm the crazy person going, yes, this is amazing. It's time to embrace it and move forward. Yeah.
I like that strategy too, because it's in those moments that you can learn the most, that you can discover gems, you can figure out who you are. It's a transitional point where kind of the chaos takes over and you're switching from one phase to another. And there's tons of gems there that most people, I think, close their eyes to and just try to get to the other side.
Mm-hmm. You know, I heard somebody use a great analogy. They said they only give their kids this apple juice that's pressed. And the mom was saying all the nutrients are on the bottom. And the only way we're going to get to the good stuff is if we shake it up. And that's kind of what I do with people. You know, they come and I shake them up so we can get to the good stuff. And I loved that analogy. It's really true.
Yeah, it's great. I want to just show, well, there's a long comment here, but just talking about, you know, from the older lady to our age to younger and just getting the generations together. I think it's so missing from a lot of what we have in our world. So kudos to you for doing that. And thank you, Kelsey, for the comment.
Yeah, Kelsey, and Kelsey ought to look up, it's never too late, or My Generation Gap. mygenerationgap.com. Dorothy does a great a podcast where she actually interviews millennials and like it's amazing. Check her out. I'll
be pushing that a little bit too.
Good.
And then Dawn saying so much positive energy, and we bounced down to Katie is, and then Katie is I love this and your energy. Everybody knows Dawn. How can you not know Dawn?
Yeah, right. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks, Katie.
So, oops, sorry. I meant to take that off. So we daisy chain these shows together. And yesterday we had a young lady starting a business out. And her question to you is, if you could have something right now, what would it be?
A house in Bermuda.
Her answer was a house. That's what I'm laughing about. But in Bermuda, huh? It's dangerous there, isn't it? There's a triangle and...
This is what I can tell you. No, but this is what I realized about the triangle. It keeps the negative mojo out. So all the goodness and happiness in Bermuda, these people are so happy. The triangle keeps out the bad energy. You want to be happy? Go to Bermuda. Oh my gosh, that's where I'd want to be. I want to fly there on the weekends and come back and do my work Monday to Thursday. That's the goal, Jerry.
All right. And I'm assuming you've been to Bermuda?
One time.
I've never been to Bermuda. I would like to go, but I spent my time in Jamaica and places like that. So yeah.
It's similar.
So tomorrow on the show, I've got a filmmaker, Laura Swanson. And what question would you like me to pass to Laura?
I would like to ask Laura, what is one thing everyone should try at least once in their lifetime?
And I flipped this question around. So what is one thing you think everyone should try at least once in their lifetime?
Traveling internationally alone. Preferably if you not knowing the language of the country that you're visiting.
And have you done that too?
Yes. I walked a portion of the Camino de Santiago in May of 2019, and I never purchased a plane ticket by myself. I never traveled internationally alone, and I had no idea what I was doing, but it was me and my backpack and a trail. It was amazing.
That sounds amazing. I love that answer too, because I don't think we get enough international travel as Americans. And I don't look at it as, oh, Americans are too stupid, they don't travel. I look at it as we're a huge country. We've got 50 states. You can travel a whole lifetime in just those 50 states.
Sure.
But it's not the same. I mean, you got to get out there.
Yeah.
So I love international travel. So you already answered the question. You jumped ahead. So hopefully everyone forgot already.
Oh.
But what is happiness to you? And are you happy? And that's not a criticism. I love that you're happy.
You know, one of the great things about my brain is I things sort of fall away from me pretty quickly, and I think that's because of the work that I do. I don't hold on to a lot. That's really, I teach people to release a lot in the work that we do. We have to if we're going to leave. Happiness to me is freedom. And in this work that I do, one of the things that I keep going back to is I'm free. I can leave here and go take care of one of my children. I can leave here and go on a run if I want to. I don't need to ask anybody's permission to do anything in my life. That happiness every damn day.
And you are happy, right?
Yeah, I am. Yes, I am.
So
I even have a sign to prove it, Jerry.
Oh, that's you're being very serendipitous today. I'm just before I came out here, I don't know if you can see it. There's I'm blocking it. There's a painting way up there, and it's all smiley faces, exactly like what you just held up. And we just specced out a mural in the front room that's going to be all of that too. So when you walk in, you're going to see all these happy faces, but not necessarily in the context of a happy. A lot's going to be going on in this mural, but they're all going to have happy faces. So, did we forget to talk about anything?
You know, I don't. The one thing that I want to say is I sent out a question today. I send out a sort of an email newsletter every Monday. And my question today is, when is the last time you did something for the first time? So I'm going to ask you, when is the last time you did something for the first time?
Well, it's going to be probably pretty frequent because I experiment a lot. And let me think. I don't know the answer. I know it would have been within the last few days. I'm just trying to think through what it was. I wasn't prepared. I feel like I'm rushed. So let me think. An hour ago, I bought a different type of crypto than I normally do. I bought a decentralized finance crypto. I've never bought one of those before, but that seems kind of cheating a little bit.
It was the first time you ever bought it, but that's great. I'm very interested in all of this crypto coin, and I know nothing about it. I'm just getting to the point where I'm checking my finances every day in my business. So I'm going to call that a win.
Well, you signed up for FledgeCoin today or last night, technically.
Was my first. Yes.
Yeah. So that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm trying to, I built a hoop house. I never built a hoop house before. I built that about a month ago, and I'm thinking there's something in there that I probably am. Yeah, something. I don't know.
Very cool.
But I take that to heart. Do something new constantly. And another thing is I'm a skateboarder, so I want to bleed all the time. Because I think if you bleed, you're regenerating, and that maybe we get old because we start getting way too careful and we never bleed. And then, we got to scrape each other up or scrape our arms up, not each other. I don't know where that came from.
Yes. Great. That's a neat philosophy.
Well, it's completely wrong and made up. I'm going to start a website and make a whole thing about it, but
okay.
I'll get discredited in the future, I'm sure. What did I ask you what gives you hope?
No, but I will say this year, I have met more people in the world, amazing, who are doing good. I mean, like, I have always wanted to do good in my life from the time I was a little kid, which is probably why I started teaching. I've wanted to do good in the world. And meeting more people who are doing amazing things to make the world a better place. Oh, seriously, so much hope. I even joined something called the Happy Neighborhood Project, which is a great group of people. You want to meet happy people, seriously, that are doing great things in the world and are giving back and supporting and lifting people up. HNP. That's another one for the show notes. Make sure you get that in. Happy Neighborhood Project. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Great stuff. That gives me hope.
There are a lot of people doing great things. We are surrounded by greatness.
Right.
So,
Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you were going to ask me what would I take us out with, right?
I was, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
You know what? I'm gonna make this short and sweet, something different than I had planned to say. But I want people to remember, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And so we must be taking good care of ourselves in our thoughts and in our bodies and in our spirits. Because when we are happy and we are healthy and we are doing good, that is how we see the world. We see the beauty and the abundance and the hopefulness and the joy and all the things we talked about today. So if you're seeing the world and you have no hope or happiness or joy, then turn it inside and take care of yourself, and then walk out another day with a new lens and see how you feel. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself so that you can see the world as a beautiful place.
Regina, it's been so nice to get to know you. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for taking us out with great advice.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right. That's a wrap for Every Damn Day. We will be here again tomorrow, every damn day. We've got 132 more shows to go, and we would have hit our 365 goal. So thank you, Regina. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We love you all, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.